sold. So when you went there, it was like really confusing. How many of you heard of the Google keyword tool? You know, Google has a lot of different tools out there. So one of the things you want to do is identify keywords that were going to help you, like in the first part of it with your brand statement, you know, message and even your elevator pitch. And you type it in there. You can type in what you think write them down and what you think your keyword tools are, and not just one word. Back in the day, people used to put in their keywords as one word, like Kleenex or whatever it was. Type it in. Nobody just types in one word. When you type in Google to search for something, it's usually a phrase, right? So write those down. Write everything that you think would be your keywords, and then go type it into Google and see what comes up, and see that's another way to tell some of your competitors who's coming up. And if you're just a local business, make sure you're typing in Orlando so that you know that, type it into the geographic areas that you are covering, because you don't need to know who's in Texas. Although, if you type in some of that comes up, it could give you some ideas for some of the marketing for your own company. And then in using the Google keywords, you can actually put in the competitors thing and see what keywords you put in their website, and it'll come up with their keywords that are on their website, which is really cool. So you can use that, and sometimes we do it, and you can put in some of the keywords that even their own company into your back end, and so that when they search, you come up. And that's what a lot of companies do out there. They're going to put in, if it's Staples has Office Depot on the back end of their website and vice versa. So that's how it kind of builds it up, because that's what people are searching for. If you're searching for real estate, if you're a realtor, we have a client that's a realtor, and they type in real estate Orlando, they also put automobiles Orlando in the back of their website, because that's the same target audience. Usually someone that's going to buy a house is also going to buy a car, right? So someone that would be the same, someone to buy your services that would buy another industry services, this like-mindedness, put that in the back. And lay the foundation. This is very important. How many of you have a logo already? Do that, right? Even if you're thinking, start with a logo and your color palette. A color palette means like what colors you're going to put in. Like we have 2 colors in ours. And start where I talked about that standard operating procedure manual. You're going to like get a big binder and start adding to it. This will be a tab. You put in your identity style guide, meaning whatever colors and fonts and everything that you use in your logo. Put a picture of that logo in there, and then put the how many know what PMS colors are? It's the color that you're. So say it's like 305 PMS. I mean, that's going to be if you use it for a printer. Pantone colors. If you do CMYK, that's on if you're on a CMYK printer. And different printers out there use different things. RGB, red, green, and blue. And then you have the hex number. The hex number is what you use on the website. So it's usually like a pound sign and then the 5-digit number. So you want to put all of that in there, because if someone goes to do your logo or reproduces it now as you grow, and you have someone says, okay, I'm gonna put your logo in here and help promote you, you want to make sure they follow the specs of your logo to the T, because if Nike, someone took their logo and turned it upside down, would that make sense? But if you're not being strict about how you follow your logo, this is your brand. And then put it on that sheet of paper so that you have that. There's no other way you can use your logo except for this way. We did all these packages a long time ago for Dell Pharmaceuticals, so there's consistency, but they're all different brands. They're all different brands within Dell Pharmaceuticals. So you have to make sure that we had a client, an office supply company, that their stuff was actually kind of fun, but it wasn't really clean, and every single piece that went out looked different. So they would think, they would just, they had someone in-house doing it. They're like, this would be fun. And they put it out, and the next month something else would go out. But when it was a little direct mail piece, when it came across the person's desk, they may look at it, but the next time they got the piece, it didn't tie into the piece they got before. So 90% of direct mail is going to end up in the garbage can, which is fine. You want them to at least look at it, so that when the next time, when you get those, you're at home and you get those, I sold this house real estate thing, this house is sold in the neighborhood. You'll look at it real quick. I mean, you guys may not, you're not ready in that, but your parents you'll look at it. But you want to make sure that the next time the piece comes in to that household and they're ready to buy, they're like, oh my gosh, I see these pieces all the time. That's pretty neat. And they're ready. You're top of mind with them. And that's important. And then start out with your business card, letterhead, and envelope. You don't necessarily right now need a letterhead and envelope in a hard copy. You can get away with doing letterhead in a digital format. Do a nice masthead on the top with your contact information so that when you send something out and it is to a customer, it's professional versus just an email, it's going to stand out. But there's so much, I get probably over 1,500 emails a day between my business and the organization, the other organization I run. And when I get a direct mail piece nowadays, it stands out to me because it's there. It's like, okay, I'm going to have a few pieces of this, and then I've got all of this. You know, so if you do something, you can do things really inexpensively, but keep them clean. Online printing, there's a lot of really cost-effective places to do it, but it's going to stand out in their brain. That's if you have your target audience. You need to send it to 1 million people. If you build your prospect list and you're going to send it out, you're going to have something that's going to go out and stand out. And your business card, make that professional. If you go to Vistaprints, try to put a little bit of money in it, and don't get the one that says free business card from Vistaprints, because it just doesn't look, you know, it just doesn't look as professional. And like I said, there's a lot of really cheap venues to be able to get something printed. And all the way down to your email signature. So, I mean, you know what an email signature is. It's the bottom of your, when you send out an email. Don't make it clean. Put your name, your title, reiterate your company name, your email address, and then everyone's like, well, how come I have to put my email address if they're getting the email from me? Because you want to make it easy for them to copy it all and put it into their content management system or their Outlook. The social media icons, if you have it, make sure they're linkable and make sure they work, the links work. Your 50 to 100 word little brand statement, it's not that long, but just put it at the very bottom and nice, don't make it bold or whatever, just put it down at the bottom. And don't make it an image. Don't make, put it in there as type. So you have a setting that you can go and actually put it in. It's almost like a little WYSIWYG Word document if you're working from Outlook. Don't make it an image, because what happens is if someone wants to take your contact information, they can't copy it from there because it's an image. You can't copy image and copy and paste it into something. They have to actually retype it, so they may retype it wrong. So that's very important. And name tag. Get a name tag. If you're going to go out networking, you know, when you go to these places, they give you these little ugly kind of little paper things. Make a statement. Those are really inexpensive. And you can go to Staples and Office Depot or whatever, and they can give you really, it's not expensive. Put your logo, your name, so it's clear. You know, a lot of places you'll go and it's, you know, they put your name, one name larger. Make it so that when someone sees it, they can actually put, you know, look at it and remember you versus that paper name tag. Now for your website, map it out. So many people, like I said, they go and they actually start a website, put all these pretty pictures in it, but it doesn't mean anything. You need to go on paper first as far as creating an outline, and then do your website. And there's some, you can do a website for free. You don't have to hire an outside service. It takes a little bit, and you want to take your time, but you've all heard of WordPress, right? Has everybody heard of WordPress? And then there's Drupal and Joomla. Joomla is the most extensive as far as having a content management system, which is a CMS system. That means that when you build a website, someone can manage it from the back end. So when we do sites for our clients, we make sure that if we don't hold them hostage, that if they want to take it over down the road, they can manage it. And go in and make, you know, do simple things like update copy and photos and all of that. There's a lot of free templates out there. There are companies out there that will give you a free template, and they'll say you have to pay a little bit of hosting each month, meaning that it's really hosted on their server. And if you decide you want to leave and take your website, you can't. You're stuck with it. So I highly recommend don't do it. You see the Wix and all those things that I think that are online. You actually are stuck there. You can't take that site once you play around and make it your own and move it to another server. So essentially, it's not your site. So in hosting, you can choose, you know, SiteGround is one that we use. GoDaddy, I'm not so crazy about because they go down a lot, but choose your hosting and then get the free template. There's so many tutorials out there that can show you how to do it, and WordPress is what I suggest to start off with, because you can do it free, and you can take the WordPress will allow you to change the colors to go with what we talked about earlier as far as your color palette, to make it look like yours, so you're really not using a template. You're not using something that's going to look like everyone else's.
WordPress.com or WordPress.org?
Yeah, both. I think they're both, right? But you can go on, but there's a lot of free, and there's some that you can purchase that are a little more intense, which is neat. And then create a sitemap. So a sitemap is when you're doing it, you want to be able to lay out, okay, I have the home button, I have the about us, I have, you know, if you have customers already, you want to put, you know, make it testimonials or call it successes. You want to put your services, so at the top or down the side. I recommend at the top. so that when you're doing your website, everything is above the fold, because a lot of the things are smaller. You want everything above the fold of the website. That means the first top. You can have a longer website, but make sure that the meat is at the top. But write that all down, and then in that same Word document, you're going to put in and write all your copy. Put your you know what copy is? That's the content that goes in there. So you're going to write your little story, and then less is more on that. But they want to know, why am I here? Where do I look? And what do I do? How many of you have gone to a site and you're like, okay, what the heck is this? What do they want? You know, it's so busy that you don't even know where to go. And again, we get short on bandwidth. We don't. If you have a customer, they want to like bang bang. Wait, you know, what can you do for me? What's in it for me? And again, the content, keep it simple, keep it conversational. We have one of our clients is a large medical institute, and she's a highly trained technical doctor. And she was writing all this copy that now I could probably go on a soap opera and be one of those fake doctors because I've learned all those terms. But she was so technical that people don't get it. So that if they don't get what you do, if you're highly technical fields and you're talking all these terms, bring it down into layman terms, because if they don't understand it, they're not going to call you. They're not going to call you for an education on what you do, what product or service that you sell. So make it really, really simple, and incorporate those keywords that you identified back in the earlier part of it. Incorporate them throughout so that they pull up on Google. And images, you can use stock photos, you can use your own. Stock photos, there's sites called 123RF, because they're really, really inexpensive. Don't go out and steal a photo from someone, because another example is we had a client that, and it wasn't our fault, but just to show, we did a sample website, and how many know what FPO is? It's for position only. So if anyone ever tells you that's there for FPO, that means they put the photo there. It'll have the watermark on it, meaning when you take it from a stock photo company, it'll have, you know, Getty Images or whatever across it. You do that just so that someone can approve it and see how that photo would look there. Well, Getty Images, actually, they have little web crawlers out there, and they found the meta tags in the back of the photo, and they tried to sue the client for $5,000 for posting their photo. But we document everything, that's showing that when we put it up, you have a certain amount of time to be able to put that FPO photo. And we won, but their lawyers just try to go across, and that was a big thing in the news. So don't go stealing a photo unless you're just doing something little that you're going to hand out and it's not going out to the public. But don't buy a photo, and go to the less expensive sites, at least when you're starting out.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you kind of concatenated two words. You said don't buy the photo?
No.
The words came out, don't buy.
Oh, they did? Oh, no, buy the photo.
Right.
Buy the photo, yes. So I'm sorry, did I say don't buy the photo?
Well, you were saying don't something. And
oh, don't steal the photos.
But you said don't buy the photo.
Oh, okay. Ooh, that's not, buy the photo. Buy the photo. And there are sites out there that will give you free photos, but they're not always the quality that you want. Again, with your website, keep it simple. Don't have tons and tons. Eventually, you are going to want more pages, and that's because that brings you up higher in the search engines. And on your home page, you have a section on there that you can keep changing the copy, because that keeps it fresh. Google recognizes that. They know that when you change something, they want to see it. They want to see that it's relevant. So now we're going to go to a blog, which on WordPress and Joomla and all these, you can incorporate a blog within your own website. So again, keep the content relevant, fresh. Write about something that you know. You can bring in a guest blogger. You can have a client in Novo in our organization. We bring in some of our sponsors, and we give them the opportunity to blog about what they're doing in diversity. So they write a blog, it makes you look good, and what happens is they link it back to their site and vice versa. So when you have these links that go back and forth to other things, such as in social media and everything, it's going to bring up your search engine, the frequency of everyone looking, and your expertise, show that you're expert in it. And if you're going to do a blog, make a decision. If you have to do it once a month, that's fine, but I recommend more than that. But when you commit to it, if it's weekly or twice a week, and it can be like 2 short paragraphs, stick to the frequency, because you're going to have what you call appointment viewers. Then once you start building that following and start building your business, people are going to expect it then. And all of a sudden you don't do it for a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. They're going to say, you know what? If I called him for this, he might just disappear off the face of the earth for 2 weeks. I need to know consistency. Keep it there and plan it out. Have them done in advance. Say, you know what, I'm going to sit on a Saturday and I'm going to write some material and just have it ready to post. And again, get some guest bloggers, get some people that have credibility, that not your competition, but they're actually credibility that are going to build you up and engage. If somebody makes a comment on there, if it's a negative comment, unless it's something off the wall that the person is just really being a jerk, it's just, then you want to delete that. But if it's a legitimate comment, social media is one of the biggest tools now for some of these largest companies, especially the airlines, that they come out and if someone complains, how many of you have heard of Clark Howard? Listen to Clark Howard from 1 to 3 if you ever can report it. He's on 96.5 every single day, and he talks about all things business and all things financial. It's just a wealth of information. But he tells people when you want to solve a problem and you can't get through customer service, you just start this whole thing on social media and they're going to listen. So you want to stop that. If someone has a negative comment about you or your business, stop it and respond back. I'm so sorry this happened to you. How can I help? Send them and then do something special so that you stop it, nip that in the bud.
So my venture has been most active on Facebook.
Okay.
And actually we have like a really high percentage of like reach, people actually seeing it. Like I know Facebook's throttling a lot of people, but like luckily we still get through. But we've also started blogging on our site. So sometimes if I should posting to my blog or posting to Facebook, which is like microblogging. So what do you think are the unique advantages of blogging?
You're going to have a different audience many times for both. When you post your blog, do you have it feed into Facebook?
We post it to Facebook.
And then you can do, so you want to put the Facebook post on there, but make sure on your blog, on everything that you do, have your social media links. Do it because you're going to have someone that's only Facebook, you're going to have someone that's blog. Facebook is more like spontaneous. Blog, people sit down and read a little bit, but do it both. And in all these mediums, in that marketing plan, that one-page plan that I'm telling you about, that's just going to be more simplified, list the priorities and make sure it's stuff that you like to do. So that if, do those fun things first, and don't do all of these at once if you can't commit to it. List them in order, and then do them, and then get good at it, and then build on to the next one. But you're going to have someone that's, Amy may say, I'm going to be more credible with the blog, or you do Facebook. Do you have a Facebook page?
Yeah.
So a Facebook page within there is you're going to have your personal one and then your Facebook page, which is your business page. So you want to make sure that you build it so that it's all feeding back and forth. SEO with Google, Google loves that. And as far as social media, like we were talking about, one size does not fit all. So you're going to have some people that they won't go to Facebook, but they'll go to a blog. They may go to LinkedIn, depending on your field. You're going to have someone that's a more professional service. LinkedIn is more apt to attract people than Facebook. So it depends on what you're doing and who you're going after. But go to that audience and actually go and see where your competitors are, which we identified earlier. Go in there and see where the heck are they? Are they on Facebook? And if you don't see them anywhere on Facebook and they're a successful large company, there's probably and if they're active in social media and they're not there, there's probably a reason. So you want to go and see where your target audience is. So if like our real estate client, everyone is her target. Everyone someday will know someone or buy a house or know someone that buys a house. So don't waste your time on something that's not going to be reaching your audience. And do not be on there and sell. It's so tough. We have a tough time with our clients sometimes. They're like, okay, I want to put all these promotions out there. No one's going to look at that. Spatter them in, but just make them a small percentage of it. If you do it, make it a really good promotion. Hold a contest. Get people engaged. You can't, if you're posting all this stuff and you don't have anybody that are on your page, you're not posting it to anyone. Get people to like it and make it. And community is again with the realtor I'm bringing it up, is but like they have like the Conway community. Some of these communities have their own Facebook community. So join those communities. And when you go on there and they're asking, you see someone on there asking a question about real estate, or do you know where I can find this? Answer the question, but don't say, oh, call me and I'll let you know. Let them know on Facebook. Show that you're an expert. Don't try to sell them. At the end, you can close it and say, if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. But put that answer on there. Keep showing that you have credibility, you're an expert in your field, and that you're helpful. They're going to remember that. And brand the pages so that all the pages look consistent with your color palette, whatever you put up there as far as the profile picture and everything. And so get organized. How many of you heard of like Hootsuite and Social Loop? And Hootsuite's like an online tool that you can actually put all of your platforms on there. Schedule your content. So if you're taking that Saturday, like I talked about, and you're putting all that content, you can put it on there ahead of time and have it and schedule it when you want it to post. So you don't have to, if you're in school or you're busy and you don't have time to go to the computer and do it, then post it that way. But make sure that you pay attention to it, and during breaks you check it to see if anybody responded, because if you don't respond as you grow, you're going to get questions or engagement. Make sure you engage, otherwise they'll stop. And consistency, make sure you, whether it's 1 post a day, 2 posts a day, see what works for you, and again, look at your competitors and see what they're doing. And manage your impatience. This is like a stupid little story. When I was younger, we lived in Iowa. I'm a Navy brat. We lived in Iowa for 3 years, and I wanted to be a paper girl, and I was like, "There's no water in Iowa. What's in the Navy there?" There was a reserve center, and the only job that I could get, I was out like corn cows and pigs, was being paper person, paper boy. And the kid that was in our neighborhood transferred to another base, and I said, I want to take that job. And the first customer was almost a mile away. You know, snow up to here. It was a really tough job, and they're like, "You're a girl, you can't do it." So I'm like, I was mad. I was livid. I wanted to go down there and fight it. Like, this isn't fair. And my dad said, take a step back and let's come up with a plan of how we can make the best impact. So we wrote it down. We took pictures of me pulling the sled, riding a bike, you know, pretend like I'm kicking a boy, and, you know, just like being tough. And we put it on a little package, took it down there, and I was the very first paper girl ever in Waterloo, Iowa. You know, so but if you do it and you can take your time and do it right and grow, don't get impatient. You know, it doesn't. If it happens fast, it usually doesn't last. You know, right. So just take your time. And a newsletter. That's another good venue to get out there and remain top of mind. There's different platforms, Constant Contact, MailChimp, and some other ones. I prefer Constant Contact because it's kind of been around a long. It's easy to use. And the frequency, just all you want to put in there is like maybe a little article showing you're an expert. Share some resources. So in the instance of our real estate client, they'll share mortgage brokers, title companies, links to their sites, especially if they link back. And then a little personal message, highlight some accomplishments in your company. So if you just came up with a new product, you know, put that in there. Promotions, but really minimal sales, because this is another avenue to keep you top of mind. Keep it consistent. So if you do it once a month, which is all you really need for a regular newsletter, depends if you're a product or a product you may want to do last a little bit more, but keep that frequency. And one of I'll keep going back to the real estate client. She's a really good example that we had to change over. Her mother lived down the road, listed her house with another broker because she forgot that her daughter owns a real estate company. Okay, so, and she just forgot because her daughter, so if you're in a service like that, friends, family, everyone, keep it out there, keep it top of mind what you do, remind them of what you do. And this is, build your database. There's a content management systems out there that you can pay for, such as Salesforce, but you can just use Outlook, but start building that and building those relationships. And when you go out, how many of you have ever networked, gone out and networked in a group where you get to know people? I had another client, in Georgia that he has a really high technology client, and he said, Pamela, I need help with our Salesforce. My sales manager, they're just not closing deals. And so I said, let me go out to a networking event. He goes, he comes back and there's no end result, there's no closing. So the owner stood aside. I walked around with the salesperson, and he's out there trying to get as many business cards as he could. He's just like just collecting, can I have your card, can I have your card, can I have your card? So we come back. Jock, that was the owner's name, because I only got 50 cards. And I said, that's great, go out and see what else you can do. And I talked to him, and I said, it's your fault he's failing. Because I'd rather have come back with 1 to 3 business cards that he actually had a conversation with that person versus trying to collect it, put them all in a database and send out a stupid email the next day, great meeting you, let's meet for a cup of coffee, when he doesn't even know who that person is. I have a really big network now. I've been here almost 4.5 years. Here, and what it is I'm focused. You go in and you start meeting people, and like I talked about earlier, if you have coffee with somebody, and just because they're not your potential customer or client, they may know somebody that is. When you talk to them, go out there and say, how can I help you? I really like, this girl Susie Pugh, can you introduce me? She might be able to help me with this. Make that introduction, become the person that's helpful and the person that's like moving them along, and they're gonna remember that. They're gonna say, what a great connector. Great, just put yourself out there, and those relationships develop over time, and all of a sudden it'll come around, and it'll be like a snowball. You'll be like, oh my God, when I need something, I can pick up the phone and I can pretty much get it. And if they don't know someone, they'll know. If I don't know someone, they'll know someone. So build the relationships. It's the quality versus the quantity. And in community, if you can, And again, time is limited, and remember this earlier, don't go out and join every single group and be involved on every committee. Find something that you're believing, something that's gonna, maybe in an industry that you're happy in your industry, get onto a committee, but don't be a butt in the seat if you're gonna be on that committee. If you say you're gonna do something, and you have a task, do it. If you're rubbing elbows with people, they're gonna remember that. Oh my God, if she does that and doing this in her business, I know I can count on her. So those are things that are gonna help you, and you're at the stage in your life, you can start doing that and knock them dead. So public relations, everyone knows what public relations is? It's public press releases, being out in the news. That's the best kind of press you can get because it's third party. Even if you're submitting something to the publication, it's really a lot of people don't realize that out there. They're like, oh, the publication, reached out to you. But put together a little press kit, and this can be down the road because you want to have a little bit more meat to your company first. Unless you have a product that's like super, super unique, build up some credibility first before you do that. And put together your product service info, photo, help the editors. How many of you heard of HARO, Help a Reporter Out? If you go to helpareporterout.com, you can subscribe and they'll send you emails. So once you get to that point that you want to actually start seeing if you can get to the news, these are reporters that actually, they reach out and they'll send emails when they're looking for a story on someone that knows social media really well. So they may pull together, they're trying to pull the resources. Respond quickly and help and be very professional. The thing is that we had a client that she's like, they asked me to do a story, but they said there's going to be 5 of my competitors in there. I'm like, that's great. And it was the New York Times. And she's like, but I don't want to be in there. I go, you want to at least be in there. If you're not in it with your 5 top people, they're going to say, well, where is she? She's not even in the top 5. So you have to, even if you're getting one blurb, you want to be a resource so that you get to know them and start building that up and those relationships. When they have a story and they have a filler piece they need to fill, and they're like, oh my gosh, she responds super quickly and very professional, they're going to call you because you're going to help them out. So that's very important. It's stress enough. Put all plan. I like to fill all this up with plan and then execute before you do anything, because if you can make those, because right now doing a website, and if you have to go back and make changes, it may not be that costly now, but down the road when you're making bigger decisions and you're on bigger projects and you don't plan ahead, it will cost you a lot of money, it costs you a lot of time, and it costs you a lot of business because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Thank you.
Just about the logo, you said you designed a logo. Can you talk to us about the trademark thing? Because I know if you were like the first person to use it, you just need the service mark.
You can put the service mark. If you really, really want to trademark your logo, you should get an attorney, and you could probably speak to that. Is definitely really trademark it. A lot of people put those service marks there, but they're really not trademarked. They're not just because you put it there. I mean, it kind of sways people, but we have a client that I consulted with called Wackadoodle Books, and she was in the process of trademarking her logo, and there was another one that was really close to it, and they didn't trademark it. She won because it was trademarked. So that's what I'm saying. Get this stuff up front, like check your domain name and everything, because you can get up here and you can get to be that Nike, and then whoop, they can take it away because you didn't follow what you have to do. So those are things that you need to budget for. The majority of these things on here you can do for low cost, but if you think you have a logo and a brand that you really don't, like there's not too many people that are going to come and take that, what I have. But you basically want, if it's something that's really, really unique, definitely trademark it. It takes time to but she went through the stages and she won. So they were actually coming after her, and she wasn't but she had already kind of started the process. She pushed it forward. So I highly suggest it. Just because you see that mark there does not necessarily mean it's trademarked.
So we have a thing with Launchpad. After somebody gives us all this information, what can every one of us in this room do for you to assist your business out?
I'll tell you just real quick what the model of our company is. We are the outsourced marketing department for our clients. So if we, like for instance, our office supply company, we do everything that our marketing department. We do the strategy, which we insist on first. I always say take a step backwards to take 10 steps forward. So we do all of the strategy, the PR, the blogs, the newsletters, the social media, so that a company that either, if they're starting out, a lot of times they can't afford all of it, so we can do it piecemeal, but it's more like the second stage companies that are about to maybe hire a VP or a director of marketing in-house, and they're paying that high figure, but they still have to pay out to a web company and to all these other companies, because typically one person does not possess all those skills, those areas of expertise. We have a team that does that, and it's a lot more affordable to hire us. You're not paying the salary, benefits, and bonus, and the overhead, and you have that consistency. So, so a company that needs help, that has a little bit of a budget, we don't work too much with startups, although what we are going to do is we're putting together some packages, so I can send that to you once we do it, for startups that are going to be on a different level. Like, this is your package that you get for X amount of dollars, and that includes some strategy and some consulting, versus the day-to-day, our clients pay us on a monthly, we set everything up and then they pay us on a monthly basis. But I can't stress enough the strategic part of it, and doing your homework first. You guys are in school, so you're already in that mindset, doing your homework first before you start going to the drawing board, because even though it doesn't seem like a lot now that, oh, I just have to change that picture if I didn't plan it out properly, remember everything that goes on the line. I mean, look at Kardashian. It's like you got everything that goes out there is going to stay out. Well, she wants that out there, so that's but everything that you put out there stays out there. Don't think just because you take it down that someone's going to remember it. So plan it out like a little map, like a little road map, and just keep it simple. And the beauty of a website versus a printed piece is you can evolve. You can keep adding to it. So we've had clients that actually they're like, I want to put 2,000 pages on my website now. So okay, do you want to spend 2 years on your website before you launch? Or do you want to launch it in 3 months and then we can evolve? So you want to put your basics on there and at least get it going, because 2 years from now, I mean, there's some clients that just never stop. So just keep it evolving, but plan it out, like write it down, map it out, but know your competitors, because that's the biggest mistake you could make. You could be out there doing something or thinking you're great, but you don't know who your competitors are, because when you're in a room trying to sell to somebody, to your customer or client, they're going to say, well, okay, ABC company's doing this, what can you do? Oh, well, who's ABC and what do they do? You need to know who at least the top 5 competitors are in your market, in your price point.
So now, is that something you can help with? Because see, I do patents, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple to figure out, do a patent search, whatever. But in terms of a business, that's a different world.
Yes.
And who's doing what, how close are they, am I offering a unique
Yep.
service? It's just, I don't even know,
Yeah, that's what we do. We do that competitor analysis and everything up
Okay.
front, yeah. And some clients say, well, I don't want to put the time, we do the work, but you need to do that, but you're not going to be able to afford it when you're small, but you should do it anyway. It's a good process to go through, and keep it fresh and keep seeing who's coming out. Read the paper. If you have a local business, how many of you have heard of the Orlando Business Journal? Read the Orlando Business Journal. If you have something, they're going to let you know, like, who's coming. You can get it online, and there's a lot of, I think there's schools, there's places that you can get it for free, but keep on top of it. Just keep on top of the news and put your name and your competitors' names there's a Google keyword search tool that in there that you can get alerts when that name comes up. Put it in there so you get alerted, okay, this person's doing this in my competitor. It's going to alert you if they show up online.
Another question is also about the logo.
Mhm.
If it's costly to say launch your site with a logo and then you decide you want to change it down the road, is it better to wait until you have to launch it?
It's better to wait, because you want it every time that you're online. You're going to start establishing your brand. Back in the days, I mean, I was back in the days when their websites really weren't. We didn't even have email. We were in AOL, like you got mail with what's on it? Yeah, it's like
Oh, yeah.
yeah. But I was before that, so it's like. But yes, I would wait, but make that a priority. So make your logo a priority, and look and see again what your competitors are doing. Look in their colors, because you don't want to be so like them. It's just like when you go into CVS and you see you've got the Walgreens brand, and or you don't have a Walgreens brand in CVS. I didn't even catch that. Okay, so you've got the generic brand. So like for Dell Labs, when we used to do their baby Orajels, we did some of their private labels for Target. So it was still baby Orajels in the packages, but it was just branded differently. So yes, I would, because you're going to establish it, you're going to put it out there, and then it'll look like you're wishy-washy. Everything that you do reflects back on you and your business. Thank you, everybody.
Everybody put a ring of applause for her. Thank you so much. I know some people want to stay afterwards and talk to you guys. Remember, she's given a lot to us, so before you ask for one-on-one coffee or some advice or a pitch deck, make sure you ask what you can do for her. just so you don't overwhelm them with 15 different copies afterwards. So, if you,
Mine.
who here has worked in the Launchpad before with a coach? Raise your hand if you've been coached in the Launchpad. Oh, snap. Who has not received a coaching appointment in the Launchpad? Raise your hand proudly. Okay, so I can tell you about the Launchpad. So the Launchpad, once again, is a place for students with ideas for blogs, coffee, websites, whatever it is you're working on. We have experienced entrepreneurs who are skilled in particular verticals that help you out. So Ron, you introduced yourself, but is it true that you were the former CFO of a nonprofit here in Orlando?
Yes, sir, it is. I was the CFO for Quest Incorporated that provides services and supports for individuals with mental disabilities. I worked there for about 3 years.
Snap. So he's our finance guy. Literally, he does the spreadsheets, and gold just begins to fall off. It's like, what is happening? So if you're like, I don't know whether my business will make money, how do I decrease costs? I actually went to him when I needed help with my business, and he worked through my financials for me. It's completely free, completely confidential. Eric, tell us about yourself.
I'm the graphic designer here, and yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I'm working on a grocery delivery service. It's going to be launching soon here in UCF.
So every person in the Launchpad is working on a venture that can help with it. Me personally, I had a apparel company. We got about 68 grand in startup funds and services. I'm the marketing specialist for Blacks on the Launchpad. Helped raise 500 grand, and I bring people outside from classes into here. So if you need help with marketing, but she's the one you go to. But if you're here on campus, I can help as well. So if you would like a coaching appointment, you can see Shakira in the back. Everybody say, "Hey, Shakira."
Hey, Shakira.
She will get you a free one-on-one coaching appointment for your idea. If you would like to sign up for the newsletter, you can see me. I'll make sure you get on our magical newsletter.